Okay.
Slowly. Okay, you should be good.
Okay, I'm going to start by showing you, these are not your tabulations, this is not your case, this was from another naming of a different school, but I'm going to show you what the data looks like. So we can start there. So
Okay.
the data comes from the rubric scores that everybody assigns to each proposal. So right now we're at 151 proposals. So each of the 8 members would be giving us information on that. So one total score from each member. So I'm gonna show you that first.
Okay.
Okay. Let me make sure that it's big enough for everybody to see.
Yep. Right.
Okay, because I'm older, I have more trouble with that, so I
I'm,
focus on that more.
I'm
But
with you.
this is what it would look like. Now, the difference between this one and the one that I have for you is that the average rank score in this column is it goes from the highest to the lowest. So it is in order. So this is what it looks like. It has the proposal number. We won't necessarily keep the proposer's name at this point, but we do have the proposed name and the proposal number and the rank. So as I said, the average rank carried out to 2 decimal places would be from high to low.
Gotcha.
And in this case, and I'm not gonna say anything specific, but there is a pretty clear right now with 5 people reporting in with their data. I can say that there's a clear line of demarcation between 3.0 and maybe 2.75.
Okay.
But that's really all I'll say about it unless you want to talk about it a little bit more, but I won't give you names or anything like that. So let me know what questions you have about this, however, though.
Okay. All right. And if I recall, this data is populated based on Bob entering the scores, and the system behind it actually computes it and ranks it. Am I saying that right, Bob?
It's not, yeah, it's not ranked. I want to make sure that term is not used for this because this is just the average score, that's all.
Okay,
And
the
it's just
average
put in
score.
from high to low. So the ranking thing is not, this is not that. This, I'll show you the ranking tool next.
Okay, so this is just taking all of the raw scores. Gotcha. Okay, and averaging.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So if there are no questions, I
Okay.
do have a few people left to submit. Oh, okay, go ahead.
I have
Darlene?
a question, and I recognize that I missed a meeting or two in the summer, and so I apologize if this was discussed and I just missed it.
Mm-mm.
Um, though I did go back and watch, and I don't remember hearing this.
We only had the one meeting in June, Darlene, so you didn't
Okay.
miss anything.
Okay.
No, you're good.
I'm curious, where, how, when we find out, like, kind of the deeper digging of people that were nominated. I ask not because of this or because of ours, but I'm also in the ALPA program through UW-Madison, and was doing some reading, and a name came up of a current Madison school that had some problematic viewpoints, but it was like the type of thing that, like, if I wasn't in this program, I never would have caught that because I never would
Uh,
have known to look for it. Does that question make sense?
yeah. In
Uh,
terms of if I got it, is when do we begin to really dive deeply into these names that have been submitted? What kind of research data will be done? Is that where you're going?
Yeah.
So yeah, and if I recall, what we were going to do, what the process would be is once we identify everybody get the scores in, let's say we've got the top 10, for example, that's when the deep dive begins. And that we'll begin to not just rely on school district to do their data gathering and research, but on our own. As members of this committee, we can go out and begin to pull together information, gather information. And when we get into that conversation about who are going to be the finalists, that's when we would bring it out. Because I've learned some things about some of the names that I have taken notes, and I'll be presenting that when we get into that conversation. So yeah, but I'll leave it to Bob to really clarify that, though.
That's right, Mr. Johns, you're right. I think this meeting would have been the one, Darlene, that would have told us who's rising to the top and how many there are. So knowing that, then the very next meeting that you had, the research person will be sharing what she has on each of the proposals. And yes, each member can bring information that they have, and that's when the discussions would start in more depth about who they are.
Nope. But you're right, Darlene. I think we have to have, as a committee, we just come prepared to have that discussion, raising issues, asking questions, telling it all, so to speak. But no, I agree. I'm with you. All right. Cool. A good question.
Okay.
All right.
So then if you're ready, then I probably will show you the ranking tool.
All right.
That this would be used in the next step of this process. So that is after this takes place, when you select a cutoff point for the scores, and then you have a certain number that are left, that is when we can begin to look at this other tool. It's called Rank Choice. So I'm just going to show you how it works a little bit.
Yep. Okay.
And so, okay, just give me 1 second here, because I was actually prepared to use this for this meeting. So there are names on this list that you're going to see.
Okay.
But they're names from the Southside naming, but they are not in any order. It doesn't mean that these are the names that are rising to the top. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that these are names that I actually put in here to show how to use the tool.
Gotcha.
If you're okay with that, otherwise I will create a different one that has like flavors of ice cream or something, so you can just see how we're using it.
Okay.
So I think I will take that tack, and I will just use flavors of ice cream.
Okay.
So that you can see how this tool is used.
All right.
So if you just give me a moment, I will go ahead and do that.
Black cherry is my favorite. That's my vote.
Okay.
That's a nice one. That's a good one. All right. Good.
Okay. So now I will share.
All right.
Okay. So this is the very first screen of the tool. As you can see down here, I have entries made. And I will submit those entries.
Okay.
And then gives me a obviously a link that I would then share with all of the committee members at that point and ask them to do their voting. Okay? So I have everybody on an email list, and we would take a little bit of a break from the meeting, probably recess for a little bit, so that we can just do this tool.
Okay.
So in any case, that's where you would go. You would go to your email, get this link, and then everybody would be asked to vote. So these are the flavors that you can choose from.
Okay.
And what your options are here is to simply drag and drop and put them in order from high to low. And so I changed them up a little bit from how I entered them, but I'm just gonna really kind of just adjust. So that's all you do.
All
And
right.
then you vote. And then you can see the results. It's nearly immediate. So in this case, we can see that in round one, Butter Pecan got a vote of 1 and the rest of them had zeros. You can see that the most votes are held by the Butter Pecan candidate. Number of candidates with the greatest number of votes is 1. So that flavor would be selected in this particular round.
Right.
So if that makes sense to you, that is really is the tool. That's all there is to it. It's pretty simple. And then I would just continue to do that. And then of course, committee discussion would take place in between. And we can go back and we can look at the I would create a new ballot every single time because you're probably going to change the names that are appearing on this so that I would start again. So and let's see. I'm gonna see if I can go backwards here. I'd like to go back and see what the ballot is, but I think we have to start from scratch. So I would have to do that every single time. Let me see if that's true. So that's what I would simply do is just add the names that you want to put in the list and then you would rank them again. But there would probably be a lot of discussion that would go on after a ranking takes place.
Sure.
And then you continue to do that until you get it down to the top 4. So I'll stop sharing, but and let you discuss.
And that's the tool we would use during the meeting. Let's say, let's say all 8 individuals submit their evaluation results. You then would compile it all, and this would be a tool that we would use during the meeting to make those decisions to get down to the 4 recommended names from this committee that the board wants, right? Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And that's after the rubric score, the rubric score numbers have been cut
Gotcha.
off at a certain point. So we know what we have left.
Gotcha. So, all right. So, any questions for Barb on the ranking tool? So we've kind of looked at 2 different tools that we will be using going forward. And any questions or thoughts that we want to present to Barb tonight?
May I ask a question about the tool?
Sure.
So Barb, once, the committee votes, is there a way to save that for future documentation? Because I heard you say you have to re-vote each time, but if we need to come back to that, is there a way to save that?
Yeah, I can always copy and paste the results to a
Great.
Word document or something, yes.
All right.
Thank you.
So that will give us documentation. All right. Okay. Other thoughts, questions on the tools that will be available for us to use? So I'll be honest, looking at them, it will take me a little bit of getting familiar with them, so to speak. So I think when we come to the point of particularly the ranking tool, I think I understand it that what we would get would be, let's say we get 10 names. Top 10 names from all of our evaluations. Those top 10 names will be put in there and we then can rank them. My question is, let's say that after the first ranking, I move applicant or proposal number 5 up to the top. That's my number 1 choice. And let's say after we vote, that's the top one. Does that one then get removed from the addition does it get removed, leaving 9, so to speak? Does that make sense? Because we'd have to take that proposal out of the mix, right? When we're ready to decide on the second proposal.
If the committee votes to have that name be be one of them that stays in the mix,
Right.
you can vote to take it off so you can rank others if you want to. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
But you would have to vote on that, yes.
Gotcha. Okay. So that means good. We can whittle it down as we go forward.
Yes.
All right. That's
Yes.
what I was wondering. All right. Think I got it. Okay.
I did want to clarify one other thing, Mr. Jones, if I could, about the last four.
Sure.
The policy does dictate that two of the four names have to be after people.
Right.
That does not say that all four of them can be people. And two of them can be a place or a concept. It's really just dictating that two of them are the names of people.
Gotcha. Right, right. Okay. Good point. Good point. Think we got it. All right. And just let me do a check-in. Anyone in the waiting room wanting to
Right
join?
now.
Okay. Well, any other thoughts on the tools that we've been presented with tonight? Questions, clarifications? All right. So the idea was that we spend a little time this evening. Since we didn't have a quorum, we can't approve the minutes, can't make any decisions on the proposals that have been entered, can't make any decisions on pretty much anything. So we're going to make this meeting more of a bridge meeting and just kind of talk through some items. So I guess what I would offer now is, since we've covered the two tools going forward, are there other areas, question and answers that Barb can provide to us or for us? I guess one thing, Barb, is from the agenda, you can't speak to this, but you can tell me or tell the group, did we get any additional comments from the public since I
We did
left?
not new ones yet, however.
Okay,
The communications department, MMSD communications, is putting out some, information to the school community
okay,
at Southside, and then once you begin to talk about a more reasonable number of proposals, that information will go out to all of our, platforms, and
okay.
more information will be made available to the general public about it.
All right. Okay, excellent. And just moving forward on the agenda, the one thing we want to make sure of is that we all have the next future meeting date on our calendars so that we have them in place. So that meeting date that we talked about, that future meeting date following tonight, do you have the date, Barb? Because
I do. I have November 19 and November 26, so it would be a week from tonight at the same time.
all right. So please put that on your calendars and try to avoid any conflicts. Okay, Brother Ed, you got it.
Yes, Barb, the one question I had was,
Oh, you're frozen, Ed. Let's give him a minute. I think he's frozen up on us. Oh,
I'm still here.
okay. Benji's here. Okay, but I think Ed was speaking on. You froze up on us, Ed. So repeat what you said.
I'm trying my best to repeat.
Okay.
I think my computer, hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you're good.
Okay. I think my speaker was low. I was trying to ask the question about how many more time frame when it comes to admitting more people names to this list that we are starting now. When is the cutoff date for that? When you talk about giving things to the public.
Yeah.
Oh, so I see. So as soon as I would say when the rubric scores have been shared with everybody from high to low, and the committee decides that they're going to say cut off the number at 3.0 or 2.75, whatever it is, all those proposals will then drop off the table, and the ones that are left, 10, 20, 30, whatever they are, those will be the ones that we will let the public know are still out there.
Okay.
And we will ask them for input on those.
Good,
Uh,
good point.
The second thing is the next meeting for us is November 19th. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Right.
Now, that was not the case before, but we've been going bi-weekly. But I think we're at a point where we can go weekly now to get it done, but I'm not sure if that'll work for everybody.
Well, we're getting into the holiday is where I'm getting at. And some of the things that you got to talk about, people of travel and what have you. And I understand, we're crunched here. My apologies, because like I said, my laptop is whack. It's old. It's old like me. Still works. But anyway, so that was my point. When you talked about the 26th, that's not going to work.
I
That's
did. I had that same, I'm sorry to interrupt. But I had that same worry about the 26th because MMSD staff, and I recognize that we're not necessarily all MMSD staff, but we have the 27th off. So I'm sure people are going to want to hit the road as soon as possible.
They'll be gone. Okay. That's good to know. Yeah.
So how does the 19th look for people next Tuesday? That's good?
So that's a
Okay.
good one. All right.
That
All
works for
right.
me.
And then if we skip the 26th of November, then we go to December 2nd. No, December 3rd.
Right. That would be the following week. If that works,
yes.
December 3rd,
Yeah.
December 10.
and let's have that break. Okay.
Okay. Okay. That's fair. So we'll have Thanksgiving week off, but we'll meet next week, and in the meantime, the rest of the scoring should come in, and then we will have our conversation about the rubric scores.
Right.
And then potentially get to some ranking.
And that's my hope. That's my
Okay.
hope. And I
Okay.
think between now and then, I'll just send a general reminder along with Barb, to the members who couldn't. And I understand conflicts and I understand family obligations. There'll be times when some people just will have plans, but just cannot make it work. But we'll just be as communicative as possible, as often as possible, just to remind people. But I'm so glad you all were able to give up your time this evening. At least we were able to build on what we started a couple of weeks ago. So I think by getting 5 of us to complete those evaluations, that's a good start. And I think if we can build out and get the other 3 to do it, that's 100%. That sets the goal, and I think I like that. So we'll get there. We'll get there.
Thank you, everyone. Really, thank you so much. You're getting really close. So once we get that rubric score done, then it will go much faster.
I think so. And I'm just impressed with your ability to stick to it. But I want to add a new feature to our meeting tonight that typically we haven't done in the past. And what I'd like to do is have one of the members from the committee to think about this and then bring forth what I call closing remarks. If the last 2 meetings we talked about, if you recall, the first meeting we asked, what does a name mean? And you all shared your insight, intuition, thoughts, and experience on that. And then last week, we asked the question, last meeting, asked the question about the name being relevant today, or how was it? I may be saying it backwards. Maybe stated today, but relevant tomorrow. The issue was that name having some sustainability about it. Tonight, I'm going to ask Benji to bring closing remarks to the meeting about what is your fundamental primary basis for naming this school. What is your fundamental primary basis for naming the school?
My personal fundamental
Yep.
primary basis. Well, I think I joined this committee because I am interested in seeing the will of the people carried out.
All right.
And I think especially between our last meeting and this meeting, we had an election.
Okay.
I think unfortunately, presidential elections are the only election that brings out the most voter turnout. Um,
True.
and I think naming a school or any other kind of civic engagement is an invaluable experience. Because I think it's how we move our country forward. And so I'd like to, I don't know, think what my founding guiding principle, I guess, in all of this is just the spirit of democracy, and the will of the people,
All right.
and understanding that this school is within a community, and that community has said and vocalized many ideas about what the school should be and the spirit that it will carry beyond our time here.
Oh, okay.
So that's I don't
That's
know. Those are my closing remarks.
That's what we're thinking is we just close it with kind of like if we were Socrates or Plato, kind of that whole philosophical thing. But I just wanted to do that so that it keep us connected and going forward. So be prepared at our next meeting for one of you all to be invited to close us out as Benji did tonight. I don't want to leave anyone out, but Barb, are there any questions on the table that need to be responded to? If not, we'll bring closing remarks from Dr. Anu.
Well, again, thank you, everyone, for your time and your commitment. It's been wonderful to be part of this process and hear all your thoughts. I'm leaving with some big ideas today, questions that were posed. When do we dive deeply about the research and
Mhm.
really connect to some of the things Benji raised today in his closing remarks? Um, I also I'm thinking about some of the technical pieces. Learned a lot about the ranking tool that we need to pass on 2 out of 4 names. The 2 out of the 4 that we pass on need to be names. And we don't yet have comments from the public, but I'm curious what they might say. So that is something I'm thinking about. And again, so much appreciation for you.
Beautiful. All right.
Oh, that
Good.
reminded me.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go
Sorry
ahead.
to raise up a last minute question. Speaking of the public, I have had 2 reporters, one from the Cap Times and one from the Wisconsin State Journal, reach out, and I haven't answered them because I don't know. Like I'm not. I work for the district, and so
Okay.
I don't like to speak
You
on behalf
know
of the
not to
district.
say anything. Yes,
Yeah. But is that something? What is there a consensus here or guidance?
yes.
This is speaking to the press.
I'm speaking up for this. Yes, all of us do not need to be saying anything to any news people or anything. This is for us to be able to discuss. And at the end, that's why we have a chairperson like Greg, and of course Barb is around, and a lot of the staff from the school itself. There is a policy, so we do have to keep hush-lipped.
But I'm glad you mentioned that. And I think what I would recommend, Barb, is that we put this item on the agenda as far as communication, contacts with the public and our media. And Ed's right, we want to follow this is the district's process. So I had already said if I get a call, I'm going to not respond, but contact Barb and say, how do you all process this? So, and we can do the same. She should be our point person, for information and procedures going forward. So by raising it, I think she can find out the answer, she or Dr. New, and go forward. But yeah, I'm glad you brought it up, though. Good
Thank you,
point.
Benji.
Thank you
Yes.
Good point. All right. Beautiful. Okay. And I said, looking around, again, we've come to the end of the agenda, the abbreviated agenda. I think we've followed all the proper protocols. You shared your insight, your thoughts, raised questions. We're now about to adjourn the meeting. Even though it's not an official meeting because we never opened it, I don't think I need a motion to adjourn, but just to be safe, a motion to adjourn.
I'm so moved that we
Okay. Perfect, perfect. Non-debatable
I'm
issue.
gonna hop into the city meeting. Good night, everyone.
Good night. There you go. All right. Be good and be safe, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. Take care.
Thank you.
And Bob,
Jesse, can you stay on for a second? Oh, I'm sorry, Greg, go ahead.
you and I'll be talking tomorrow.
Okay,
All right.
do we have something set aside?